Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy, and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 different tips on how to be a successful owner-operator. Now this is a definitely dream for a lot of our students who are coming in and getting themselves a CDL license. It's a big dream for a lot of people who want to start their own business and don't really know what business to start. Getting a CDL license can open up so many doors for you in the future, whether you want to be a company driver or in this case, become an owner-operator. And in this video, we're going to be giving you the details and 5 main tips that you should keep in mind on how to become successful so you know it before you actually start on the journey. So if your goal is actually to become a successful owner-operator, you should definitely watch to the end of this video so then you have all the tools that you need to make sure that you know what you got to do. Tip number 1 is going to be make sure we recommend getting some actual experience as a company driver first. A lot of people who get their CDL license have the mission and the dream of actually owning their own business one day. We usually tell people, hey, you're not going to get rich overnight, but make sure let's get you rich for sure. In trucking, you can make a whole lot of money, but you want to make sure that you have a great foundation underneath yourself to make sure that there's no mistakes, no accidents happening. Because one big accident early on can really defunk your whole career, which is not a good thing for you. That being said, getting some experience as a company driver will actually help you out a whole lot. Some of the main things it's going to help you out with is, especially if you go with bigger companies, you're going to start seeing how things like the orientation process works, right? As you're going through this process, you want to always put on your hat of, if you were the owner of your own business, what are the things that you enjoy in the company that you're working for? What are the things that you would change and improve as you continue to vision your own future in your very own business? The other things that are really going to help you out is your skill set of actually learning how to drive a truck. Because once you become a business owner, it's going to be 2 separate skill sets that are needed. One is going to be you have to be a successful truck driver first. And just because you have your CDL license does not make you a professional. All it does is gives you the access to drive these big tractor trailers on the actual road. The experience and the professionalism comes with time. So now, that being said, give yourself time to really get that experience and professionalism when it comes to the driving skills needed. The next skill set that you're going to need is going to be becoming a boss and becoming a business owner. And that has a whole separate skill set, a whole separate set of tools needed for that section itself. So if you really keep those 2 understandings in mind, it's going to make you a lot easier to actually calm down your ego and be like, okay, let me go work for somebody else. Let me focus on this one thing, build the foundation. So then when you are ready to transition over, you just have to focus on the business part, not on the driving and on the business part by itself. The next tip, if you want to become a successful owner-operator, is going to be make sure you do your research. So what are we talking about with research? We're not talking about like getting ready to do a college paper or anything like that. We're talking about, okay, now that you're really actually looking to build your own business, you have to understand you are going to fend for yourself. There's no guaranteed paychecks at the end of the week, because if you don't work, if you don't find the right work itself, you are not going to get paid. Or even worse, imagine you're working, but it doesn't cover your expenses as an owner-operator, and that means you're actually would be better off if you just didn't work at all. And a lot of people who are starting off in this owner-operator field don't really have those understandings, never really did the research, and they kind of just get started, and all of a sudden they feel like they're in a hamster wheel trying to pay the bills that already happened with future profits itself. So we want to make sure that we're doing things correctly. And different things that you want to start planning is going to be, okay, which routes are going to be good? What's your ideal home time going to look like? What type of loads are you going to be transporting? All those different questions will completely change the trajectory of how you're going to start and run your own business. For instance, say you really like flatbeds, and all of a sudden now you're going to go the flatbed routes. That being said, flatbeds are there's pros and cons. We've made many different videos on the pros and cons of flatbeds. You can make more money, but you're also going to have to work a little bit more. Or maybe you go reefer trailers, which is refrigerated trailer. Or maybe you just go dry van trailers itself and you stay basic. But either way, you have to understand which route you want to go and how often you do want to be home as well. When you take that all into account, that is why we actually told you, hey, become a company driver first, get some experience across multiple different fields, and really start understanding the business side of things, because every route, every load is going to pay a little bit different. So make sure you're doing your research and you understand what you're actually planning to do. Number 3 on how to become a successful owner-operator is going to be plan ahead. So you already did your research, you were a company driver, and now it's time to actually plan. You're about to get into business with it for yourself, and that means a good plan is important. A lot of people talk about business plans, and the way I kind of like to think about business plans is it's more of a business map, right? So you kind of have to put a set target on where you want to hit to, and then there's multiple ways to get there. A business plan, when you're so strict to that, times are going to be changing very, very often, and you might get derailed just on a simple business plan. But certain things that you really have to start planning out is going to be, okay, how much money do I actually want to make? If I want to make that much money, how much do I actually have to work? Which means how many loads do I have to actually transport? Now you're going to see, okay, is that plan viable? Is it not viable? Maybe I should increase the amount of money I'm getting per load. Maybe I should make sure that I increase or decrease my overall budget. Is my actual expenses going to be like in the actual operations of things? And if you followed our steps, right, first you're going to make sure that you're a company driver. So you're starting to understand the broker language. You're starting to understand which routes are going to be better than others. Next, you're going to start making sure you're doing research to see, okay, which routes do you want to do? What type of loads are going to pay a little bit more? And now that you have that information, now it makes it a lot easier to plan. If you skip those first two steps and you just go right into the planning phase, you're probably not going to have all the information necessary to make sure that you become successful and make sure that you are an owner-operator who's actually making money instead of just an owner-operator losing money. Now, just because you're a business owner does not guarantee that you're going to make more money. All it does is gives you the promise and the opportunity to make more. It also gives you the responsibility to actually make more as well, which means everything falls on you. So with the proper plan in place and really working this thing out, not just in your head, but on paper, it can definitely help you out. If you need any help with this, make sure you put in the comments below, hey, I need help. And if you do, maybe we'll pick out one of the people who commented and we'll sit down with you one-on-one. We'll kind of work out the best business plan that you can do to get your goals accomplished. And everyone's goal is different. Some people's goals, hey, I just want to work 2 or 3 days a week, get my minimum bills paid, and that's all I want. That's great for you. Some people want to build an entire trucking empire. We can help you out with that as well. And if you just want to get your CDL license, we can also help you out with that. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. But if you want that one-on-one session with us, make sure you comment below saying, I want help, and we will pick one of your lucky followers to actually do it. Number 4 comes to choosing the right truck. So if you want to become an owner-operator, your truck choice is going to be super important for you, right? So if you follow the steps that we've done so far, you have a pretty good understanding of what you want this truck to be doing. Because you did the plan, because you did your research, you're going to know exactly what is required out of the truck. So you're going to be doing long haul, short haul. For instance, if you're just going to be doing local stuff, all you need is a day cab. Day cab is a tractor that has no bed in the back because it's just for local deliveries. You're going to be doing over-the-road or regional work and you're going to be sleeping in your bed, you're definitely going to be needing a sleeper. And by picking your truck, I don't mean, are you going to pick a Kenworth, or are you going to pick a Volvo or a Freightliner? Pretty much a truck is a truck when it comes to that stuff. There's pros and cons for every different make or model. That's pretty much a preference thing more than anything else. But really understand what is the workload of that truck. Now, when it comes to new trucks versus used trucks, what we usually recommend for people, especially starting off, get yourself a used truck. There's no need to get a brand new truck starting off as an owner-operator simply because you won't be making any more money just because you have a new truck. It's in no world are they going to say, oh wow, you have a new truck, let me pay you more money for this load simply because you paid a lot of money for your truck. Not going to happen. So the price point that we usually recommend people stay in, especially for their first truck, anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000, right? If you're in that price point, your payments are going to be reasonable enough that you can actually set yourself up for success. Now, the other people are going to say, get a brand new truck. Make sure you have big payments, put a little bit down because you don't have to worry about any repairs. I'm sorry to tell you, trucks are trucks, which means a brand new truck can break down just as easy as an older truck can. Now, when it comes to mileage, what we recommend is like 300,000 mile range. Now, to put it in perspective, 300,000 miles is like 30,000 miles on an actual car. So 100,000 miles on a car is equivalent to like 1,000,000 miles on a truck. So keep that in mind as you're shopping things around. And when it comes to financing, good credit is super important, especially in trucking. It's not like cars. You are going to need to put a bigger down payment if you don't have enough money to actually get started. What we usually recommend people doing is actually having about $50,000 saved up before you can actually consider really safely going into this industry, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if you have that, you built up enough buffer zone to make sure that you can be successful and weather any of the short storms that come your way. That brings us to the 5th tip of how to become a successful owner-operator, which is have money in the bank. A lot of people kind of, hey, this is my dream, I want to get there no matter what. They skip all these steps, and then this is the worst step that really kills them. Because all they're doing is scraping credit cards together. They're making sure that anything that they can just to get the whole thing started, and they have nothing in reserve. We usually recommend having a minimum of 30 days of cash flow in the bank itself, and preferably you should have 60 days of cash flow. What does that actually mean, and why is this so important? A lot of people, because they're so dire to do it, they're going to get credit cards, they're going to do everything that they can, and all of a sudden they're starting off with zero money in their account. And all of a sudden, on their first couple routes, what happens? A tire blows. And now, all of a sudden, if you're out there not having any experience, a tire can easily cost $1,000 if you're not shopping at the right spot, or if you need some emergencies or anything like that. And now your bank account is in the negative. So the other thing that you do have to keep in mind is when you become an owner-operator, you get paid like a company, not like an employee. An employee gets paid every week or every 2 weeks. A company, you send the invoice in, the company then has to process it through their accounting department and then send you a check back out, which means on average, if you're lucky, it's going to be 21 to 30 days after you actually send the invoice in, not even after you actually do the job. Which means if you're bad with paperwork and you do the job today and you don't send the invoice in for another week, you just delayed your payment another week. So in the beginning, when starting a new business and managing cash flows is super expensive because you still got to pay insurance, you still got to pay your gas, you still got to pay all the different things that you have to pay. But all of a sudden the money's not coming in for at least a month to 2 months, depending on how efficient you are. Now for brand new drivers, there are something called factoring companies. Whether you're brand new or not, you can still use those. And the way those companies work is they're going to say, okay, you have an invoice for $1,000, no problem. We're going to pay you less than $1,000 so you can get paid today. And then we'll wait and we'll collect $1,000 in the future, right? Depending on what kind of deal you work with, depends on how much they give you now. But pretty much it's like a payday advance loan. And pretty much because they have the cash already, they're willing to just wait and get the full amount. And the difference between what they give you and what they collect is going to be their profit. So those are all good things to kind of get yourself started. You don't want to rely on those guys too much because every single time you do that, you just cut your profit margins a lot more and it makes it a lot more difficult to run a profitable business at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, this is the steps of actually starting your own trucking company. Step number 1, work for another company, get some trucking experience, make sure you lock down that skill set. Step number 2, do all the proper research necessary so you can have a plan to set up your actual company for success. Step number 3 is then going to be make sure that you find yourself the right truck and you have enough money in the bank account for the first phase. Now once you're open, now you're going to be going through the survival phase. Every new business does it. So you're going to go through, you're going to be working super hard. You're not going to get the results right away, but you're going to see the momentum kind of build up. Once you pass the survival phase and now it's more normal for you, now it's about the whole like stride phase. A lot of people kind of get stuck in this phase. They get a little bit comfortable and they're in that phase between, hey, I'm good now. I worked so hard to get here that I know to get myself to the next level, I'm going to have to sacrifice a little bit more. And that will move them into the sacrifice phase again. And if they don't sacrifice, they're just going to get stuck in that phase. And that's okay for a lot of people. But for those people who have huge dreams, want to become multi-millionaires in the transportation industry, you're going to have to go through all the different phases. And like I said earlier in the video, you comment below help or help me, and we're going to pick one of those people and we're going to actually get a one-on-one session with them on how to create a profitable business plan in trucking or in any other transportation field that you see fit. And if you don't know what kind of company to start, maybe you want to start your own trucking school. You can help people just like you actually get their CDL license and change their lives forever. And we actually can help people out with that as well. So if you are interested in getting your CDL license, opening up a truck driving school, or succeeding in the trucking owner-operator world, make sure you put in a comment below and we'll definitely pick one of you guys. Or check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. Again, cdldrivingacademy.com. Thanks, and have a good one. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel. It's really going to help us out. Click on that button. And if you want to continue yourself on your road to freedom, here's more videos to watch. There's endless amounts. Hopefully we get to see each other one day very soon. Thanks.